Ashtavaram Giraj Maharaj ki, Shada Govinda Madhava ki, Rantaraj Shiman Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 10, The Deliverance of the Yamalachuna Trees, text number 11. Deha kim manadatuhu swam nishektuhu matuhu eva cha matuhu pituhu va varina kretuhu agnehe shuna api vam deha kim manadatu swam deha kim manadatu swam nishektur maturevacha nishektur maturevacha matu piturva barina matu piturva barina kretur agneshuno piva kretur agneshuno piva eha kim manadatu swam nisektur matu ahevacha matu piturva barina kretur agneshuno piva. Deha kim manadatu swam nishektur maturevacha matu piturva marina kretur agneshuno piva deham kim manadatu swam nishektur maturevacha matu piturva bilana kretur agneshuno piva. Mataji. Deha kim manadatu swam nishektur maturevacha matu piturva marina kretur agneshuno piva deha kim manadatu swam nishektur maturevacha matu piturna varina kretur agneshuno piva. Deha, this body, kim manadatuhu, does it belong to the employer who gave me the money to maintain it? Svam, or does it belong to me personally? Nishektuhu, or does it belong to the person who discharged the semen? Matuheva, Or does it belong to the mother who maintains this body within her womb? Cha and Matu Pituva. Or does it belong to the father of the mother? Because sometimes the father of the mother takes a grandson as an adopted son. Balinaha. Or does it belong to the person who takes this body away by force? Kretuhu. Or to the person who purchased the body as a slave. Agnehe. Or to the fire, because ultimately the body is burned. Shunaha. Or to the dogs and vultures that ultimately eat it. Api, even, va, or. Translation by Sri Prabhu. Why alive? Does this body, so Narada Muni is speaking to the two fallen brothers, Nalakuvera and Manigriva, while they are intoxicated, naked, and aside with ladies who are naked also in a river. So he's preaching to them. So Narada Muni is speaking these words. Why alive? Does this body belong to its employer, to the self, to the father, the mother, or the mother's father? Does it belong to the person who takes it away by force, to the slave master who purchases it, or to the sons who burn it in the fire? Or, if the body is not burned, does it belong to the dogs that eat it? Among the many possible claimants, who is the rightful claimant? Not to ascertain this, but instead to maintain the body by sinful activities is not good. Text 12, because there's no purport. Evam sadaranam deham avyakta prabhavyapayam Kovidvam atmasakridva hanti jantum ritestataham. Translation and purport. This body, after all, is produced by the unmanifested nature and again annihilated and merged in the natural elements. Therefore, it is a common property of everyone. Under the circumstances, who but a rascal claims this property as his own, and while maintaining it, commit such sinful activities as killing animals just to satisfy his whims. Unless one is a rascal, one cannot commit such sinful activities. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. Atheists do not believe in the existence of the soul. Nonetheless, unless one is very cruel, why should one kill animals unnecessarily? The body is a manifestation of a combination of matter. In the beginning it was nothing, but by a combination of matter it has come into existence. Then again, when the combination is dismantled, the body will no longer exist. In the beginning it was nothing, and in the end it will be nothing. Why then should one commit sinful activities when it is manifested? It is not possible for anyone to do this unless he is a rascal number one. Translation again. Why alive? Does this body belong to its employer, to the self, to the father, to the mother, or the mother's father? Does it possible claimants. Who is the rightful claimant? Not to ascertain this, but instead to maintain the body by sinful activities. He is not good. Avaganatiminandasya gananjara shalakala chachurumiritam yenatasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shnapitam Yena Bhutalde Swayarupa Kadamanyam Nadati Saparantikam. Hey Krishna Karina Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantarada Kantanamastute. Tapta Kanchana Gurange Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutedevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripastindu yaivacham patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see that Narada Muni is taking the endeavor of preaching to two devatas, drunkards, intoxicated, who may be barely fit to understand the message that Narada Muni is conveying in these verses. So he's preaching a lot about those who are intoxicated not only by liquors or alcohol or like that, but to those who are also intoxicated by their position, by their wealth, bank account, their vehicles, their servants. Many things can intoxicate the mind and twist the real vision of things and impede one to understand the real situation as it is. And here, Narada Muni is pointing what is the real situation. What is this body after all? So he speaks specifically about how the tongue is entangled the living beings in general, because every living being is obliged to eat something. In order to evacuate, to transform the body, one has to eat something. And the tongue, then, it's the main element that makes one sinful according to the qualities of the food he takes. That's why regulating the tongue is so much stressed and important. Atakshi Krishna namadina bhavet indriyan sevan mukhe jivado atas furatyadaha. We cannot understand the spiritual topics with blunt material senses because they are meant to get information from gross material. So how to get information about Krishna's opulences, Krishna's world, Krishna everything with these blunt senses? It's not possible. They have to be spiritualized. It means saturated by execution of devotional service that starts mechanically and little by little, by purifying us, we realize that what we are practicing is real devotional service. But at the beginning, it's not possible. We do it mechanically because we are told to do it, and because we have faith in the devotees, the spiritual master, and the book left by Srila Prabhupada, and also by going to India. It makes the faith become mature. So in this verse from Priyat Bhagavatam, Bhakti Ratamrita Sindhu, these verses, Atakshi Krishna Namadi. Huh? Yes. from so the six Goswami wrote these books, and it is stressed that the tongue is the most important. By starting to control the tongue, we start to spiritualize our senses. So the tongue is meant to mainly to vibrate songs, and to take food. So by engaging the tongue in singing the glories of Lord Krishna and training it to properly chant the Mahamantra Hare Krishna Hare Rama, and by taking regularly prasadam in a proper spirit, then the tongue becomes spiritualized, and that's the very beginning of a spiritual life. Of course, after some time, our activities becomes also spiritualized, and ultimately the mind is like the town. The senses are the different gates. So what comes in these gates, little by little, influence inside the city what's going on. So after some time, the mind also becomes controlled. So the order is giving, but it is said that even if someone has controlled his hunger, the sex urge, the stomach, but he doesn't control his tongue, he's not fit, strictly speaking, to become a spiritual master. So the tongue is supremely important in all of the gates and inside the city as well. So that's not an easy thing, because our tendency to speak so many nonsense, prajalpa. So it's one item that, if we don't correct it, have a tendency to destroy our growing bhakti creeper, prajalpa. Speaking of fancy things or material mundane topics, this is not good for our bhakti. So Narada Muni also explained philosophically, Buddhas I don't know so much English. Whom does this body belong to? So he gives different examples: the mother, the father, the grandfather, the wife. Sometimes the husband belongs to the wife. Then at the end, does it belong to the animal who eats it? Or it's difficult to ascertain this topic. Who does this body belong to? Because after all, the body is a flux of material elements. Like I preach very often to our helpers, you are in a body, but the time we are speaking, the body already changed. You have to understand that physically speaking, you are endowed with a flux of material elements that are produced from the food, from the air, from the water you swallow, and you also get rid of them mainly through nails, the hairs, the skin that goes in the cloth, and mainly the refuse, the toilets, of course, and so many also humidity, air through the breathing. All these elements are evacuating, and so many elements are taking through the body. So you can understand the body is not a fixed one, like the clouds. They are always in motion. And if you analyze a little further on, you will discover that the whole material elements, the space-time in which you are obliged to live, is of the same washing machine, always in rotating and changing this. Not only the gross, but the subtle ones also, subtle elements, the circumstances, the people you meet, what you see to the TV set or your smartphone. All these things are changing and manipulating your way of thinking. Then the process, this is the process of reincarnation, but explained in an analytic and scientific way. So who is doing that? What kind of body we can speak of? We don't even know what's going on in our body, how we digest things, how we think things, how it's working, how we can think we are the real owner of the body. We are at best a locataire, someone who rents, renter. We are a renter of the body. Like an author, we are here for a time. We met other renters. How are you going on? Nice day today. Going on every day. And after some time, they have to evacuate the apartment because your spent of time have been spent. Time to go. Just went to go away. And someone else will take the apartment. So this world, space-time is like a big hostel, hotelry, a motel, where you can cook, you can do all your things, but you are not the real owner. You are just renting for a time, for a certain amount of time. So like that, Narayana is speaking of the body. And during the time you are living in this apartment, if you take advantage of killing poor animals without mercy, then it's not good. Not only it's not good, but the next destination, the next flat you will get, maybe will not be the same luxury the one you were in last life. When you change flat, also changes the category, the neighbors, the food you will have, everything changes. What will be served downstairs at the hotel, what kind of food, it can be worms, it can be dead animals. So many distressed food is being swallowed by so many distressed living entities here and there. Ultimately, the grass, they eat all the stools, the dust, the dirt, the worms, every kind of stuff. It's a big space-time being digested by so many living entities. And our body doesn't escape this fate. Things are being digested in our own body without us being able to control anything. We are like refugees, whipped by the three clash, going here, there, money, wife, husband, help, this. Every living entity is living this way. There's no really shelter. We are unsheltered in this material world. So the people who visit us, we can say there's a kind of rolling stones, going here and there in this universe. Brahmanda, Brahmaiti Koni, Bhagavad Shiva. Only one who is really fortunate in his peregrination in this universe can sometime meet a devotee and receive the seed, the beginning, the seed of devotional service. And if he is intelligent, this seed he will water and eventually it will flourish, give flowers or fruits, and be useful for the whole of humanity and for Krishna as well, if you have this reflex of offering it. So we can see that all these this bad bargain of being engaged in a body the best we can do is trying to offer something to Krishna. Of course, Krishna says, "Phalam toram yomam patram puspam phalam toyam." Offer me simple things that you can get. This is some small beginning. It is something. For us, it is not so much. But for Krishna, it is a lot. It's like a drop of water in a desert. You have been rotting in this material world, doing nothing for Krishna, and all of a sudden, this drop of a flower, or little water, or an offering, incense, it is something valuable for Krishna. Of course, if we can offer our activities, our time, our intelligence, our strength, our ability, skills, we offer to Krishna, then it is a lot. And also it will mean a lot for us. We give to Krishna our young body, our abilities, time. It is the ultimate sacrifice. Much more than just money or possessions. It is something. It is appreciated always. But the real jihad, like the Muslim with their sword, the real jihad is to go against our own internal enemies. They are not visible. You cannot get rid of them through the sword or heavy chastisement or heavy dress or whatever. That's not the way to tame a wild horse. You have to make little by little him like a friend. But at the same time, you have to make him understand that it is for his ultimate benefit to become tame. It's not so easy to tame an animal. So for Krishna and the pure devotees, it's also not so easy to tame our false ego, our tendency to go wild in the forest of the material enjoyment. To make someone understand it for its ultimate benefit, this is the aim of preaching for the devotees. And that's why knowledge is supremely important for the lost souls in this world. So we see also in this preaching spoken by Narada Muni how important it is to avoid meat eating. That's one. Of course, we have the 4 principles meant to guarantee us a kind of free activity, or free will, not to do what Krishna doesn't want us to do. At least it is something. Then for the karmi, for the people interested in sense gratification, it looks like something almost impossible. When we tell them that's the beginning of real freedom, they understand it oppositely. Well, you speak freedom, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, that's so many things. Where is freedom? Like a driver, a crazy driver, if you speak to him, don't go behind this fence over there, after you will have a cliff. That's the reality. But he doesn't know that after the barrier there is a cliff, because they don't believe in the cliff. They don't believe in life after death. So people have to understand scientifically how the body is running on all the material elements are rolling on. How is it? How is it that you are still the same person and you change body so many times? Actually, every second. But where is your uterus? Where is your fetus body? Where is your baby body? When you were a young boy or a young lady, where is it now? It's gone. It has been recycled on all these different elements. But you are still the same soul, the same person. So we have to make understand the people how things are going on with reincarnation. That for most people it is something, a belief, some little faith. Most of people, they don't understand reincarnation. They have a little belief, a little faith. Yeah, I believe in reincarnation. But if you ask them to explain how it works, they won't be able to do so. So the devotees are the real ones in the world to explain how the soul is transmigrating, the person is transmigrating from one body to another at every second. Because we see all these religions, Abrahamic religions, mainly the Quran, those who are inspired by Torah and the Bible, of course. It's the same mold. This Srila Prabhupada explains that these are scriptures meant for meat eater. They are in somewhat temporary, and they don't explain in a scientific, analytic way how the soul is transmigrating little by little from one body to another one. How we become old. What is old age? New age, old age. They have no idea. People have no idea. Practically, the insignificant devotee, sweeper, or insignificant so-called insignificant service is thousands of years more advanced than any people living outside. Because he is caring for his ultimate benefit and ultimate future. While people are like animals because they don't care about the ultimate benefit and ultimate future. They are like those youngsters who don't care about education and they take to some temporary activity, cheap activity, and with time going on, they will see life is difficult because you didn't get any qualification. You don't see the long-term occupation and what you will do when you will be more old. Someone who is intelligent, you understand, he tries to get some skills and qualification for his future grihastha life or like that. So he's concerned about what's going after when you get older. Similarly, those who have a spiritual vision, they care about what's going on after this life, and they will do some saving. Like there is a nice story, like someone who was trying to extinguish a fire in his house. But if there is no well next to the house that have been built previously, what is the use? The house will burn. So the house is your body. The well is your spiritual realized knowledge. If you don't have some economy saved or water saved, or when your body will burn due to influence of the fire time, you'll be finished. The house will be smashed. So there's a saying like that when your house is in fire, if you have not dug well, your house is finished. So spiritual emancipation is meant to samsara davanana linaloka, to extinguish definitely the fire of the material existence. Not only locally in time or just medicine, curing little infection, this little fire, definitely the fire of the time, to stop, to give a definitive term to this rotating cycle of birth and death, old age, all that. This is time that is making things moving like that. And in the spiritual world, the time, maybe it exists or doesn't exist. It's not a problem. It exists, but it have not this oxiding and destroying influence. So there's no trace, no influence of the three inferior gunas that are moved by the time. The time makes the three guna move. So the time in the spiritual world have no influence because there's no three gunas. And then the spiritual body is eternal, and there is no age and no disease, no death. Difficult to explain these points to the non-devotees. But devotees can understand to disentangle our to disentangle ourselves from this material world is not an easy thing, and it requires deep means, starting with training the bodies, the senses, then the mind, then our intelligence as well, and ultimately dissolving the false ego, making us a servant of Krishna in place of making us a servant of our false soldiers, wife, family, senses, king, president, whatever. This soldier will not be able to save us at the time. There are false entities that maintains a false idea that they will accompany us all our life, and we can rely on them. There are unreliable elements in your life. So cow killing is a huge activities of those who don't believe in the soul and who don't care about the rules given by the scriptures. So the result is that Srila Prabhupada will say that cow killing is responsible for the wars, mainly, where people are treated like the cows in a slaughterhouse. So we see that in the wars, people are also slaughtered, like the cows that were slaughtered. The only mean is to stop this killing and have an understanding of why we should stop killing cows. Well, I don't remember this story, but I've read that one king was in charge of defending the cows from the attack of the tigers. In the past in India there was a lot of forest because there was a lot of raining. So there was much more crop, much more opulence, much more forest, and much more animals in the forest. So tiger, there was a lot. Now it's in here and there a few tigers. One tiger, there were hundreds of tigers. When I was in the 80s in Jaipur, I spoke to someone, a friendly guy, and he told me that in in the suburb of Jaipur, his grandfather, he would not go in the wood alone because there was some tiger. So in Red Fort on this, there was some dense forest. So you go now, you just see bushes or skeletic bushes or little trees, but before it was not like that. So tigers were not so rare. And around Jaipur there was some tigers. Not so, maybe 200 years ago or 150 years ago, 150 years ago, like that. So to come back to our story, this king was in charge of protecting the cows from the tigers, and it happened during one night. It was raining a lot. So when tiger attacked and this king, imagine how humble he was. He would take charge of defending the herd. And he got the fight and he smashed the tiger. But the morning he saw that he had slaughtered the cows. So he was dismissed and he was cursed. What he did, he just went in the forest in the company of sages. And eventually he became absorbed in the devotional service and he returned back to Godhead. So the curse had no effect on him. So like that, we can see that all kind of material curses or benediction, or like we sing this verse in Damodara Staka, what any other benediction is useful for me. Just have the image of Krishna and Mother Yashoda in my mind. I don't want to have any other boon. Just to be able to concentrate my mind on the pastime of Lord Krishna. Then you are not part of this material world. It looks like you are like others, but you are not. Because the mind is the vehicle that makes you going from one direction to another one. Like the gloves on the hands. You have the gloves at the Saturn body, and the hand is the gross body. They fit together, but they are two different things. So the mind is, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that the state of consciousness that you reach during this life will determine the future body or flat in which you will be living in your next life. So Krishna says also that if you worship ghosts, then you become imbibed of this mood of ghost and you go to the planets of ghosts. So if you imbibe yourself to worship of devatas, you go to the devatas you want. So similarly, what is the difficulty to understand? If you worship Krishna, you go to Krishna. Very simple and logical to understand. So like that, people can understand what's the value of spiritual life. Or it is important to tame the mind and the senses. This is real freedom. It looks like it is not. It's coercion. It looks like, oh, I'm obliged to do this, so many rules. Specifically when you advance in spiritual life, you see there are more this. Not so easy. There may be some comments or questions about these verses.
So, if I worship Krishna, I will go to Krishna. But if I worship demigods or the gods, I will go to their planet. But do I need to have any qualifications for that? Because I just worship, I do whatever I do. It doesn't mean I will go there, isn't it?
Generally, if you worship a devata, you follow some kind of rules. You offer some kind of items. There's a process. If you do it whimsically like that, then it is somewhat sentimental. If you follow the rules and the regulation meant for this devata, and all you do, it means you follow some rules in your life that makes you qualified to some extent to become closer to this semigod. But if you claim to be like nowadays, it's very common. You claim to be a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, but you are acting in a fancy way. You don't follow that much those principles, or you neglect them, or you can be called a follower of Christ, of Mahomet, or Abraham, or Moise, or whatever. Because it's in the air that so many people, they put a stick on their belonging, but they don't. What is the proof? Normally, if you worship God, you should. The closer you get, like next to a fire, closer to the fire you are, the more hot you are. You should get the qualities of what you approach. So if you approach devotees, you should develop also to some extent, some divine qualities. Similarly, when you approach Krishna, you develop ultimate divine qualities. So that when you are in the spiritual world, you are already fit in this material world. You are in between, but the mind is the main element. So people who say they follow this faith, but they don't follow the rules and regulation mentioned in the scriptures. It is sentimental, it's temporary. It won't have the claim effects. You won't go to the spiritual world. You won't go even close to Jesus if you stamp on the rules that he gave. The problem, Srila Prabhupada says that sorry. He says in Bhagavad Gita that religions that is not supported by strong philosophy is sentimentalism, and very often it leads to fanaticism. People do things in a whimsical way and sometimes extreme way without understanding the purport of the rules, because they don't apply their intelligence. They are misled. And oppositely, if you apply philosophy just for the sake of philosophy without caring for God or different aspects of God, then you are like a bookworm or a rat of bookshelves. Un rat de bibliothèque, we call it in French. The rat de bibliothèque. A rat in the where are stored the books. You go here and there. What qualities do you develop? What benefit to the humankind at large do you display? So like that, someone who follows some rules and regulation, be it for devatas or Christ or Mahomet or whatever, if the rules are not followed and if he doesn't develop some understanding, it's like a little superficial and we will not benefit, or little benefit. So similarly, devotees are the same, in the same vein, let's say like that. If they practice devotional service, but there is no realization and with time going on, and a softening of the heart also, it means we don't really understand some things, or we do things a little too mechanically. So regularly we have to fight to sharpen the thread of the sword of detachment and practice. We have to sharpen our intelligence. That's why associating with Krishna and developing his divine quality, you have to go to the whatever is Krishna, the prasadam, the deity, the devotees, the books. The books are here for sharpening the sword of intelligence. You are like in a forest. You want to cut the banyan tree of illusions. It requires a sharpened axe, a sharpened saber. You have to be a little kshatriya spirited. Yeah, like I said, jihad. You have to not to stay sleeping too much, too long. You have there's a long way and a long run. If you are traveling in this path, you must have to, in a sense, the devotees are the best warrior because they vanquish the inside enemies who are subtle, lust, anger, greed, position, all these things. Krishna says it's through the mind. Arjuna says it's difficult, impossible. But Krishna doesn't say it's impossible. He says it's possible, but with time, with determination and detachment. Practice and detachment. So detachment means you have to understand things, what's going on outside, and see it with the Chakshu Shastra, the eye of the scripture. It's good to be in Sankirtan like that, because you see how people are entangled in their flat with their dogs, their TV set, They have no spirit of waking up. What to speak of even leading a girl? We are speaking of so many boots noises there, war here, but people are really not in the spirit. Even to be lightened, to do somewhere. It's not like the past century. You could light up people, France, Germany, this, and they would go, yes. Now, this won't work. It's like humid smash. It will not light up people. People are becoming like chewing gum. They don't do nothing, they just receive the check and spend it. Yeah, because too much opulence, too much facilities, then they take it for granted it's for eternity. The wheel of fortune rotates. We may be fortunate for some time, economically speaking, but it's not meant to last eternally, especially when you indulge in cow killing. You have to pay the bill one day or another. It may be postponed sometime. It's never free. You have to pay in this world or the next. Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada ki.